This video is a brief introduction to some of the best new features and updates in Carlson Layout version 1.04. If you'd like to see a full list of all the changes and improvements to this version, you can download the full release notes at carlsonsw.com. Let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and open a job that I have prepared here. And I'm sure you guys are all familiar by now over in the measure screen. Currently we have this description field that allows you to tag a description onto any of the points that you store. If instead you choose to do feature coding, that's now available in Carlson Layout. So up in the pyramid in the upper left hand corner, if you just go down to settings, when we scroll down, you'll now see feature code settings. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my feature coding, and you'll see that I get another option here, which is code list locked or unlocked. If I lock my code list, which I'm going to do for right now, that's going to force me over in the measure screen to always enter codes that are from my existing feature code list. So I can press the list icon to the right here to see my list. And this is where I'm going to come to load a list. We can load FCL or FLD files. Or if I want to add codes manually, I can do this here. Or if I need to edit my list, I can tap any code and press the edit button, where I can change any of the code, the category, the layer, the color, anything I want to change, or I can remove my code. And again, you can pull a code list in from anywhere that you have it in the cloud or on your tablet. So I'm just going to leave my existing feature code list here, and I'm going to leave it locked. And now you'll see that when I go back to the measure screen, instead of a description, we now have a code. And you'll notice that it's grayed out, and that's because my list is locked. So I can't type anything in here that's not from my list. If I want to change my code, I tap the code icon, and I've got my full list of codes here. So if I choose irrigation, and I'm going to press measure, and you'll notice now that next time I go, irrigation has been moved to the top of the list. So we do save the most frequently used codes to the top of the list. So if I decide I don't want to lock my list, I'm going to go back into settings, and I am going to change my list to unlocked. And now you'll see I have a third option. This is going to tell me what should happen with new codes if my list is unlocked. So if I type in something that's not in my list, do I want to automatically add it to my code list, or do I want to not add it to the code list? So I'm going to say automatically add to the code list. And now when I come back over here, you'll notice that there's a green check next to this code, and that indicates that it's already in the list. If I tap in here, I can type something else now. So I can type in tree maple, okay, which is not in my list. You'll notice there's no green check there. Now I press measure, and now I have the green check, and that's because this code has now been added to my list. So I press the list icon, I can see that tree maple is now in my list. And if I want to go back over and edit that code, I can go back to settings, go to my feature coding, and you'll see now if we scroll down, my tree maple code is there. I can edit it, change the color, whatever I want to do with my code, it's now available for me. That's if I want to build my list on the fly, that's how I would do it. So if you want to start with no list and choose automatically add to code list, you could build your list as you go. If instead you say, well, sometimes I want to use from the list and sometimes I just want to type in random descriptions, then choose don't add to code list. And in that case, when you type in something that's not on the list, it won't add it to the list. It'll just be a different description in your file. So that's feature coding in Carlson Layout. Next, I want to show a few options that are available from the main menu now that involve cleaning up a drawing. A lot of times when you bring in a drawing, it'll have a lot of clutter in it that you don't necessarily want to see in the field. So if you go into the Create menu now, you'll see that there's a new Delete option. And what this allows you to do is delete a lot of entities from your drawing at the same time to quickly clean it up. So you can see that I can use two modes of selection. I can do pick, or I can make a box. So if I choose, let me choose to make a box here. And I'm just going to draw a box around this particular neighbor that I don't like and this road behind him. And maybe I want to get rid of this one, so I'm going to go ahead and tap that off. And I can pick as many entities as I want here. Let's get rid of their driveway as well, but not this. You can turn things on and off. And you can choose points and lines, whether you want to get rid of both or just one or the other. And once I've chosen what I want to delete, I can press delete. There we go, and I've just gotten rid of that neighbor. So that's the delete option, quickly clean up your drawing. And then the other option to quickly clean up your drawing is over in the layers menu. A lot of these drawings will have layers that are unused. So if you have unused layers in your drawing that you want to clean up, you can tap the hamburger menu up here, and there's a new option for delete unused layers that will just go through each layer and delete it if it does not have any points or lines in it. So that would help you quickly clean up a messy drawing. Now I want to show a new option from the main menu. You'll notice that on the left-hand side here, I'm in auto zoom mode. And what auto zoom means is that when my GPS position walks off the edge of my drawing will refocus so that the GPS is always displayed on the screen. But this is now a 3-state button, so if you tap this button, I've shifted over into autofocus mode. And autofocus mode is a little bit stronger than auto zoom in that it will always keep my GPS position in the center of the screen. So wherever I'm walking, my GPS will always be in the center of the screen. And if I don't want that to happen at all, I can tap again and get manual zoom, which means that my GPS can walk right off the screen. But this can be really handy if you're trying to examine a piece of the drawing that you're not necessarily standing on. So it'll turn off all automatic zooming and it'll just keep you looking at what you're looking at. This version also includes some updates to the area tool that should be handy. If you go into the tools button on the left and we choose area, you'll see that now on the right we have the option to choose the units that we want to see our area in, whether it's square feet or acres in the US, or if you want to see square miles or square kilometers, that's there if you're in metric mode. So in addition to that, instead of having to press each vertex on the drawing now, it's now possible to just tap and select any shape. So here I've just tapped once in the center of this polygon to select it, and I can see that the area of this particular house is 1,500 square feet with 6 vertices. And if I wanted to wipe that out and start over, I can press this reset button up in the top right. When I like my area, I can press save. And we now have the ability to export a report of my area. So I can choose PDF or HTML. And I'm going to go ahead and choose PDF and say export. And you'll see here that my area report has the job name, the date, the time, the perimeter of the area, and a little snapshot of what exactly I was taking an area of. So I have a report that I can press the share button in the top right and send to anybody I want using any share method that's set up in my tablet. I'm going to jump over into another job to show this next feature, but along the way I want to show you a neat little trick that was recommended to us by one of our users. If you go into the job carousel where you're looking at the jobs that are in your site, you'll notice that now you'll see a little map icon at the bottom of each job. If you tap this icon, it will actually launch Google Maps and navigate you to the job. And this is for people who may have forgotten exactly how to get to an old job or don't quite remember where it is and want to see it on a map. You can always jump over into Google Maps and see that. So I can see here that this particular job, park, was done in the park right outside my office, and that I can just press the start button to go there in my Google Maps application if I want my tablet to take me there. So let's go back over into layout, and I'm just going to open this job. You'll see that I'm not quite on the job, but because I'm using the simulator, I'm just going to tap up here in the top corner and say jump to, which you can do in a simulator, but you can't do in real life, unfortunately. And so I'm going to go into the measure screen now and just go ahead and measure a point there that I'm going to call Buffalo, because there's some buffalo statues there. You'll notice that now in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, there's this Edit Last Point button that's been added. So if I tap on that, I can go into the last point that I've just stored, and not only can I change the name and the description and the layer of this point, but I can add a photo to the point. So if I already have a photo taken, which I do, I'm going to tap the photo icon, and I'm going to get into the photos that I have on my tablet. And here's the photo I took of the buffaloes outside in the park. I'm going to go ahead and attach those to the point and press save. So I've attached a photo to the point that I just stored. If I need to attach a photo to a point that I stored a while ago, I can go back over into the points list. And you'll see that the points list now has a column for all the photos that are attached to points. So you can see if it has a little photo icon, it means there is at least one photo attached to this point. And you can attach as many photos as you want. In this case, I've only done one. If I want to add a photo to an older point, I can just tap the point and I can press the edit button. And I'm right back into this edit screen where I can either add a photo with the gallery button or with the camera on my tablet if I want to take it right now. So I'm going to choose one that I've already taken again. And I'm just going to add this picture of statue to this one and press save. And now you'll see I've got the photo icon, and if I press the info button, I can not only see all the information about the point, which has always been there, but if I just scroll down a little bit, I can see the gallery of photos that are attached to this point. So that's attached photos to the point, and you'll notice if you do a job export, the photos will go with the job. So you are able to attach photos to all your points now. We're going to switch jobs yet again to another job that I have with a very large surface in it, so I can show you some improvements that have been done to surface stakeout. So let's just load this job Mala. And you can see here that this is actually a quite large surface file. So if I wanted to stake out this surface, I can go Layout and Add Surface. And I'm just going to choose my surface and choose Select. But you'll notice at the bottom here that there's now a vertical offset option. So if I don't want to stake on this surface, but I want to choose instead to do 2 meters above the surface, for instance, I can choose that here and choose Select. And now when I'm staking, I'm actually staking Mala plus 2 meters. So that just allows you to do offsets to your surface. The other thing I want to note about stakeout is that the default in Layout is to always stake out using the target as a reference point. But if you prefer another way of staking out, you can use the icons in the top right, the little hamburger menu, and choose Settings. And it's now possible to choose your, if I can find it here, your stakeout reference. So instead of target, you can change this to point if you want to use a particular point on the job as a reference, or you can use the sun as a reference. It's also an option. I'm going to leave mine on target. And just to revisit something that's been here for a while, you'll notice the lock icon on the surface. If I tap that lock icon, it means that when I jump over and start staking other items that may be in my stakeout list, it'll continue to use the elevation from this Mala plus 2.0 meters surface. So this allows you to stake out to other objects with the elevation from your surface instead of the elevation from that object. I'm going to unlock it. I'm just going to quickly switch jobs again from the dashboard. Now the job I'm opening up now is just a really basic job with a little tiny bit of line work in it, and I want to use this to demonstrate the new CAD Utilities menu that's available in the software. And this is for people who are doing a little bit more line work in the field or CAD work in the field. This, under the Create menu now, or sorry, under the Tools menu, if you choose CAD Utilities, you'll now see that we have some of the most useful CAD utilities that are here available in the software in the field. So if you look under the command list here, you'll see Extend Line by Distance, Extend Line by Edge, Join Lines, Close Polyline, Divide Along Entity, Interval Along Entity, and Trim Line by Edge. And this list is likely to grow, and we would request your feedback for what other options you'd like to see available here. I'm going to go through just a few of these just to show you how it works, and let's start with Join Lines. So Join Lines will join individual polylines into one. So I'm just going to tap Join Lines. I'm going to tap these 2 lines, which happen to be 2 different line segments, and I'll hit Apply in order to join those into one line. So now if I tap, that's one single polyline. So back into CAD Utilities, let's see here. Let's do Divide Along Entity. So if I could just pick any line on this drawing, and I might choose to divide it into 5 segments, and I can choose whether or not I want to create points at the endpoints, and I'll hit Apply, and you can see that the software has created 5 segments along that line, which you could later use for stakeout. Of course, you don't need to create these points for stakeout inside of Carlson Layout, but if you want to, you could do it here inside of CAD Utilities. Let's look at some of the cutting tools that are available and extending. First, let's do Trim Line by Edge. So if I just tap here, the first thing it's going to ask me to do is select my cutting edge. So I'm going to select this line here as my cutting edge and press Next. And then I want to select the line to trim. And you can see the red part is the part that's going to be cut off. So if I want to go the other way, I would tap the other side of the line. And I'll just hit Apply and trim that line. And I can do as many lines as I want here. So I'll pick a different one and say Apply. And that's Trim Line by Edge. So next, let's go into extend line to edge. So I'll just do that. And let's go ahead and extend these little lines to that edge. So again, I'm going to select the edge first. And then I'm going to pick the polyline I want to extend, and I can just tap and apply and tap and apply and extend those lines to the edge that I've selected. And the last one I want to show here is extend line by distance. So if I tap extend line by distance, I can just tap a line, and you can see that the red arrow is reflecting which way it's going to extend. So if I want to go the other way, I can hit reverse direction, or I can tap the other side of the line. And in this one, all I need to do is tap in a distance and hit apply, and it's going to extend that line by the distance. So that's some basic CAD utilities, and hopefully we'll be adding more of those soon. Let us know what you'd like to see here, and we'll get it added. So this is just a brief overview of some of the new stuff that's in Carlson Layout version 1.04. Again, the full release notes are available on our website. So we look forward to your feedback. Thank you.